to Jake Jackets. Gear up to fire the cannon and hit the ice with your host, Jay Ashdown and Jake Gehringer.
Don't care what your politics are.
Right. Yeah. I'm glad it was a good show.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And the next day wasn't as much, but it was worth it. We'll just say it was worth it.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to.
Yeah, I needed it. I needed a day like that. I haven't been to a concert since, gosh, it's been a couple of years, I think.
Right.
No, it's been a year. The last concert I went to was Seether and Three Doors Down.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right. That's right. I remember that one.
Last year. That was really fun.
That was around your birthday, wasn't it?
I want to say yes. I can't totally remember.
Because I thought you had that concert and a Blue Jackets game like pretty close together. So,
Might have been.
Yeah. But I don't know. My memory sucks usually. So
Yeah, so does my short term. Sometimes it's just the worst.
yeah.
But hey, we actually have some big hockey talk at this point in the summer, which is weird, right?
It felt like we were just, we saw the big pieces like, Johnny Gaudreau sign obviously the Blue Jackets. And Laine signed his extension. We saw the big trade with Matthew Tkachuk, but it felt like a lot of these other remaining guys who have not signed yet were all kind of waiting for this big domino to fall.
Right. They're waiting on cap space
and finally we got it. And yet again, the big news in the National Hockey League is around the Calgary Flames.
Who knew people still wanted to play there?
Yeah, and I think it's a really good thing because, we've talked about it ad nauseum, how frustrating it is having that narrative swirl, like the narrative, the nobody wants to play for you allegations. No, it's never fun to deal with.
No.
I don't believe there's a shred of truth to that when it comes to the Calgary Flames in the city of Calgary.
It's Calgary. It's like one of the biggest.
It's a big market, and
it's a huge market.
Yeah. So I'm glad that this happened because, Johnny Gaudreau leaving Calgary had nothing to do with Calgary specifically. It's a family decision.
Yeah.
Matthew Tkachuk leaving Calgary is just, Matthew Tkachuk wants to be elsewhere. It's not that he hates playing in Calgary. It's not that he hates the city of Calgary. But like Sergei Bobrovsky, why not play for Florida?
Why not? Yeah, why not?
State in beautiful weather, why not?
And they're both American guys, so they just kind of wanted to go home.
Right.
More or less.
It's understandable. So, I'm glad that it happened this way because, Jake, we talked about it at length. I think officially now I can say with confidence, I actually believe the Calgary Flames are better today than they were last year.
Well, the reason being,
NASCAR.
They got, Nazem Kadri is a Calgary Flame now, which, we were talking about this for a while, how there was the original Kadri trade.
Where Kadri was supposed to go to the Flames, and in return was supposed to be TJ Brody.
Right.
And then those two teams ended up on those teams anyway.
Yeah, this is weird, right? Because Brody came over was he a free agent signing too? Yeah. So they both came over as free agent signings eventually.
With one cup run in the middle. So I had people I had these fans on Twitter were talking about well, this is stupid that he ends up at the Flames anyway, and I'm like, no, it's not. He won a cup. You can't say it was stupid for him to go to Colorado instead. And I understand the context. Kadri rejected the trade to Calgary not because he didn't want to go to the Flames. It was because he thought that rejecting that trade was going to keep him in Toronto.
He wanted to stay a Maple Leaf for a while.
And then Dubas found another path, which was through the Avalanche, which, good lord, I would imagine he would take a mulligan on it.
Your backlight is like really distracting.
Yeah, it's brutal. I'm sorry today.
do you not
Terrible.
have a fill light?
No,
Oh,
the lights in here are terrible today.
oh, brutal.
Let me see if I can lift a shade. Maybe that'll help.
Because I mean, I know we complain about lighting all the time. But I mean, yeah, Nas going to Calgary. Um, for the longest time, we thought he was going to New York. We thought he was going to the island, right? Yes, that looks at least having a few more lights around.
Oh,
should
that's way
be-
better. There we go.
It's better than just like your head peeking out and then just having the one light go boom.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, so to your point, yes, we thought for a while that he was going to be a member of the New York Islanders, and that's part of the reason we thought it was taking so long, because Lou Lamoriello is not going to announce a decision on the first day of free agency. He's going to announce it on the last day of free agency.
He's going to announce it on the first day of training camp.
Yeah. He might wait until December 1st to announce it.
Yeah.
That's just how he operates.
I
But,
mean,
I threw out the idea that he should consider going to the Washington Capitals if Nick Backstrom's done. But, they found Dylan Strome. I'm not 100% sure that he is done. So that's their solution. Understandable. But, man, Calgary, man. Like,
I mean, is Lou done? Because he's literally made no moves. He's signed 0 free agents. He hasn't really made.
well, I meant Backstrom. Is Backstrom done?
Oh, is Backstrom done? Right.
So I think that's their answer. So Lou's obviously not done. They still need to sign. I think they need to sign Romanov, right?
I think they do. Well, that's the thing.
Romanov
Is that's
and Dobson are two big ones.
yeah. So he's got to sign RFAs, but that's really it. And he made the trade for Romanov on the draft day. But again, he went out and got no free agents.
Yeah, and you don't need to necessarily build your team through free agency, and I think
No.
they have proof of that. They went out. Look at their core. Pelech was a draft pick.
Mhm.
Pollock was a draft pick.
Mhm.
You
Barzal was a draft pick.
Matt Barzal and Sorokin. Their biggest free agent on the team that they signed was, I would probably say, Semyon Varlamov,
Right.
who was a good, short-term solution to their goaltending issues.
Good foot soldier. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're probably not going to bring him back after next year. They might end up trading him at some point this year, depending on what they can get for him. But and then you look at the other pieces they have. Palmieri was a trade. Pajot was a trade.
Yep.
Lou has never really been a huge build through free agency kind of guy.
I guess not, because
never signed is probably Kovalchuk, which you get the chance to sign Ilya Kovalchuk.
at least a prime Ilya Kovalchuk. And I mean,
Yeah. It'd be a shame if he leaves, 3 years into his contract.
Mm. Okay, so Nas. I don't know why we just wanted to dunk on Lou for whatever.
Because he's old.
Because he's old, and I mean, again, 0 free agencies. I get that it's like, I get that that's not his style, but still, like nothing.
Yeah, it's surprising.
It's weird that it's nothing.
Yeah, it's absolutely weird that it's nothing. It should never be nothing.
At least go get like a 4th liner out of your free agency, right?
You didn't even sign a Riley Nash.
You couldn't even
like one Riley Nash, or
you couldn't get a Cedric Paquette for $1 million.
Why did we both go to Cedric Paquette?
Because he just went to the K yesterday.
I didn't even see that.
He went to the KHL.
Oh, Johan Larsson. You couldn't sign a Johan Larsson? You'd fit perfectly with what the Islanders are doing.
Dude.
I can't believe no team signed Johan Larsson. He's a good player.
He is a good player. So is Nazem Kadri. Again, getting away from the point.
Kadri fits perfectly with what they're doing at Calgary now.
I think the narrative now, it's less about Nas and what have we belabored the point on through the last few weeks. It's Brad Treliving.
We talk about every year off-season champions. It's hard to imagine a team could be off-season champions after losing Johnny Gaudreau and
Uh-huh.
Matthew Tkachuk. But if you were to give an off-season championship to anybody, would it not be the Calgary Flames?
I don't know. Dorian's up there. Dorian and the Senators are up there.
They've had a really good offseason too. Yeah. It's the battle of the Kachucks for the the one team that traded Matthew and the other team that's got Brady.
Oh, right. But I think, yeah. So Treliving, we talked about this with just in our texts, like with Yarmo getting Johnny Gaudreau,
Mhm.
getting the bell of the ball,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And then now with the last few moves that Brad Treliving's made, have they not had the hottest of hot GM summers?
I would say so. It's interesting how it works because remember,
And again, Dorian, let's not leave Dorian out of this because he got Alex DeBrincat and Claude
yeah, he made
Giroux,
the
and
trade
it's
for
like,
Alex DeBrincat, which was a slam dunk, and he got Claude Giroux. He's had an outstanding summer. He deserves this flop. I feel and I've thought this for a while. Pierre Dorian's been judged so unfairly, largely in part due to ownership.
because of Melnick's meddling. Let's be
Melnick
honest.
meddling, bringing in Pierre McGuire. Like he's not had an easy job in Ottawa.
No,
I think he's handled it pretty damn well, considering the circumstances. But
he
to get
does
back,
what he can, and
Yeah.
and now he's able to actually do what he wants to do.
right, which is awesome, and not to mention they extended Josh Norris, who's a really good player.
We talked about that a while ago. Yeah,
So Ottawa's definitely got to be up there. But it's interesting, like to me, that how closely tied together Nazem Kadri and Johnny Gaudreau have been in terms of the free agency because
they
Gaudreau
were.
wasn't the initial target for Columbus. They were going after Kadri.
I don't remember that being in the rumors. So I don't know why.
It's the initial want. And this Porcelain said it was they wanted to after Nazem Kadri. They were looking at a long-term deal for him.
Mm-hmm.
And after the Eric Branson signing, they heard
And that was off the
little bird that hey, Johnny Gaudreau's interested in the Blue Jackets.
Mm-hmm.
Made some calls, they had some conversations, deal gets done. So they end up with the biggest fish in the market. But yeah, initially they wanted a center. They wanted Nazem Kadri.
Right.
That the Blue Jackets get Gaudreau, and then Kadri goes to Gaudreau's old team.
Right.
They're just so tied together. It's really interesting. It's fascinating. This has been a very, very fun off season. A lot of off seasons are fun. This might be the most fun I've had in an off season in a while, and I'd have to biased because we did get Gaudreau, but
and it's funny too
really
because like the first off season we covered, we had the expansion draft and all that craziness going on too.
Yeah, you think about it, since 2017 we've had 2 expansion drafts. We've had John Tavares going to the Leafs.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a lot of big stuff to happen. We've had Erik Karlsson getting traded.
This feels like the biggest shuffle, though, does it not? This feels like the biggest shuffling of pieces.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if that's necessarily because of COVID specifically affecting the salary cap, but God, it has been a lot of switching up and changing, and it's fascinating.
Yeah, because it's a lot of guys that you would think never would leave, and they end up leaving.
And they end up leaving. Some guys you thought, God, I don't know how they're going to keep them, and they end up staying. Like,
right.
It seemed impossible 2 months ago for the Penguins to be able to keep both Evgeny Malkin and Chris Letang, and they found a way to make it work.
Yeah.
And they also kept Brian Rust, and they also kept Ricard Raquel. Like, they find ways to.
And they kept Jeff Carter.
Yeah, teams will find a way. There's loopholes in the salary cap to help you out with that.
Yeah.
And we'll also, and just like the moves that like we haven't talked about a ton, but are just mind blowing. Like, could you imagine a year ago, first episode of this podcast, if I said to you, Jake, Max Pacioretty's not going to be a Golden Knight in a year. Not only is he not going to be a Golden Knight, they're not going to get anything for him.
Oh,
It's
I mean,
crazy.
well, it's just because and not to go off on another tangent because
I don't know if this is necessarily a tangent. I think it's just examples of how crazy this offseason has been.
I think, but to me, that's just how Vegas has operated over the last year or two.
Yeah.
And just how brutal and cutthroat they are.
And it's not even just brutal and cutthroat. Poor asset management.
It's poor asset management. It's rude.
It's poor asset management. It's poor people management.
Yeah, it's literally like it's just being an asshole.
Yeah.
It's like for lack of a better term, they're Bill Foley and Kelly McCrimmon are just assholes to their players.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just Vegas being Vegas, I guess. They've literally become the embodiment of their city.
It is. It is the perfect embodiment of their city. And, to me, I think that to get back on track, is this offseason not the perfect embodiment of the city of Calgary? Very, very chip on your shoulder kind of city.
Mm-hmm.
And, always feel like they got something to prove. And I feel like a lot of people...
They lose 2 big guys, and then they end up gaining 3 huge pieces.
Yeah, you get Jonathan Huberdeau. Look, I don't think there's any drop-off between Gaudreau and Huberdeau. Like, they're the same player.
I mean, they put up almost the exact same stat line last year.
Yeah, they put up 115 points, and one guy had 10 more goals, and the other guy had 10 more assists.
It's almost a mirror image, yeah.
So you have an unbelievable playmaker on your left wing. Okay, you went from an unbelievable playmaker on your left wing to an unbelievable playmaker on your left wing.
Right.
A really, really good set. This gives you so much flexibility.
Yes.
You've got Kadri, you've got Lindholm, you've got Backlund, you've got Coleman, who can all play center.
Right. And Coleman's probably, we can get into the lineup just a little bit.
Let's Coleman on the wing. You could play Lindholm on the wing. And chances are, I think they might end up just saying, we'll put Kadri at 1C and we'll put Lindholm on his right.
Well, that's the thing is they want to play Lindholm with Hubie, right? They at least
Hubie, Kadri, Lindholm
could do that.
Which I think would be a lot of fun, but you have options because you still have Tyler Toffoli and Andrew Mangiapane, and as I mentioned, Coleman, Backlund, all those guys. Like, they've got options, man.
One option that they don't have anymore in order to make room for Nas. We'll dive into this now.
Yes, and this is one of the sadder stories, I think.
This is a little sad, isn't it?
But
Sean Monahan is now a Montreal Canadian.
Yeah, and so the Calgary Flames traded away a first-round pick. What first-round pick? I don't fucking know. There's so many.
Okay.
I have no idea what to make of it.
So it's a huge. Everybody's laughing about this because there's so much like the statements that came from Cap Friendly.
Yeah.
About this pick are such word vomit.
Oh my God. I read it like 3 times and I'm like, I have no idea what this means.
They posted this in the SDPN Discord.
Okay.
And I'm sure Steve retweeted it and whatever. It's a
someone dumb this down as much as possible.
It's a thing from Reddit and it says, "Can someone explain to me like I'm 5?"
Yes.
Right? So here's the explanation like you're 5.
Okay.
Montreal has the option to take Calgary's first round pick in 24 if it's 20th overall or later.
Okay.
If not, Montreal gets the better of what's available to Calgary, whether that be their own first rounder or Florida's in 25, unless one of these picks is in the top 10, in which case Montreal gets the later one by default. If that's not possible, and this is the explanation like you're 5, and it's 3 layers.
So let me get this straight. If the Flames pick 19th or earlier in 2024, they keep the pick. Okay.
Yep. If not, Montreal gets the better of what's available, whether that be, their own or Florida's or what have you. And this is for 2025,
Yes.
unless one of those is top 10 protected, in which case Montreal keeps it.
hmm
If that's not possible, Calgary doesn't get the 2025 first rounder, and Calgary's 2025 first round pick is in the top 10. The cycle continues for 26. So
So we don't know when this pick's going to happen.
no, we don't know whether this is going to be a 2024, 25, or 26 first round pick.
There is a chance that the Calgary Flames just traded away Sean Monahan and a draft pick to Montreal, and Montreal in return for taking on Sean Monahan is going to get a player who's like 15 right now.
Right, exactly.
14 or 15 years old.
There's just so many, like, I've seen the cap friendly word vomit. I've seen that people made flow charts to try to explain the path of this draft pick.
Problem with lottery protections and top 10 protect, top 5 protection. Like, holy shit, they make things so confusing sometimes.
This pick is like locked in the Disney, like in the vault within the Disney vault, right? It's like
it's ridiculous.
Because you have the Disney vault that they present in the movies,
Yeah,
like in the trailers, and then you have the vault where Walt's body is actually buried, and that's where this pick is.
It's in the shadow realm. Nobody. The reason that this is sad is because
Monahan's been a staple for that team for ages.
He's been outstanding for them, and especially the early part of his career.
And him and Johnny just being
they had such
biggest dynamic duo.
And it's a situation of injuries taking a toll on the player. And if you look at games played, this is a guy who's played through a lot. He's not out of the lineup a ton.
No.
But it's off-season surgeries to his hip flexors and multiple wrist surgeries. So his wrister isn't as good as it used to be. His
right.
Falling off. And
he went from bona fide 1C to being healthy scratched in the playoffs, guys. This is really a huge fall for this guy.
And it sucks because it's not a situation of players' performance has dropped off just naturally. Like, no,
it's not an aging thing.
It's not an aging thing. He's still a pretty young guy.
He was 2011.
He was 2013.
Was he 2013? Okay. Because I remember he was 6th overall.
Yeah, and he played like immediately. So, 6th overall in 2013, and immediately played with the Calgary Flames, and immediately scored 22 goals his rookie season. Next year in 81 games, 31 goals, 31 assists, 62 points. Followed it up with a 63-point season, 58-point season, 64-point season, and then in the 2018-19 season, 34 goals, 82 points in 78 games.
So he's no slouch. No.
But then he has, some injuries, and he recovers in the off season. He gets some surgery to his hips, to his wrists. And next season, 22 goals, but 48 points in 70 games.
Right.
Then 10 goals in 50 games, then 8 goals in 65 games, and he was out for the rest of it. Like, you just see, like, so clearly it's just a consistent drop off for a really good person too.
He did so much around Calgary.
Yeah, it's so unfortunate to see that happen to such a good guy and to a really talented hockey player.
Very talented player. And again, like we talked about his chemistry with Gaudreau for so long. Like those two were an automatic 1-2 punch.
Yeah. And they were just so reliable together. They had obviously such a great friendship. So it sucks to see it. Like, it's crazy to think about, like, in one off season. Think about this in the last 2 years. Okay. Last 2 years for the Calgary Flames. They lost Sean Monahan.
Yeah.
Johnny Gaudreau. Mark Giordano.
And Matt Kachuk.
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
I'm more
you can
so
throw
going
you can
for
throw Matt
sure.
in there, but
You
like
throw
I
Matt
get
in there, but I'm going like the long term. Like
yes,
when you got into hockey,
yes,
Sean
those
Monahan was a flame. Johnny Gaudreau was a flame.
Mark
Like,
Giordano was their captain for the longest freaking
yeah.
time. He
So
was
when
one of the
you got
longest
into
serving
hockey,
captains
you
ever.
were watching those three for years. They were always flames,
Yeah,
and now they're gone.
they were like, yeah, it was their team. I thought those guys were going to be Flames lifers, and
They were the three guys who took over for Iginla.
right, exactly.
It was the passing of the torch from Iginla to.
No pun intended.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's some next level puns right there.
Wow, I'm so good. I don't even realize when I'm making next level puns. No, legitimately, a passing of the torch from Jerome Iginla to Gaudreau and Monahan and
Gio, and yeah,
take over the team.
like Gio wore the C, but like Johnny and Sean.
As we
carried-
talk about,
yeah,
it's not just one leader on a hockey team. Just because you're the
Mm-mm.
captain doesn't mean you're the only person that players follow.
no, exactly.
So yeah, like in terms of leadership, Monahan and Gaudreau were huge for that team.
Oh yeah,
Like, the one staple that's still with the team is Backlund.
in terms of your overall leaders, yeah.
In terms of and like real long term longevity with the team, Backlund's been there forever.
Backlund's it. I mean,
He's been there
because
since like what, like 2010, I think.
something like that. He's been there a very, very long time, and he's like, I think he should probably be named their next captain at this point,
Yeah,
because you would think. Let's get into the lineup just a little bit. 0809. Wow.
He played his first game in 0809, and then
He's been there the whole time.
Yeah. So one game in 0809, then 23 games in 2009, 2010, and then became a full-time member in 2010.
10, 11.
Yeah.
Wow. So let's look at this lineup a little bit, right?
Yeah, let's play around with this roster a little bit here.
So Huberdeau, Lindholm, could go Nas, could go Toffoli, could go Mangiapane. That right wing spot is, totally up for grabs.
I love this roster because of the flexibility it's got.
Yeah. I mean, it's way more flexible than people think. Right?
Often your flexibility needs to come in terms of your center position. Like I mentioned, Naz Kadri and Elias Lindholm and Michael Backlund and Blake Coleman, like
Which
a lot of flexibility.
I'm pretty sure they have. I can't remember who they have listed on Cap Friendly as their, because I went off Shannon's video with Cap Friendly roster,
Mm-hmm.
and they have they have a younger guy. No, wait, they have Peltier on the wing.
Yeah. They brought in Kevin Rooney for the bottom
Rooney,
six.
that's yes.
Trevor Lewis is still there.
That's who I was thinking of, was Kevin Rooney.
Yeah, I'd imagine that he's fourth line.
That's what I'm saying. So like your
Fourth
center depth,
line max.
so
He's
like just based off of what they have, based off of what they have on Cap Friendly, you're probably going to go Lindholm, Kadri, Backlund, and Rooney to start.
And there's nothing wrong with that. That gives you an interest. If you're putting Kadri at 2C, that's really interesting. Because
and that leaves Backlund as your 3C. Like, ooh,
yeah. Because so let's say like you do that, for example. So you put Huberdeau with Lindholm, and then on the right side, I would probably say you put Mangiapane
or Toffoli.
Or Toffoli. So those two are 1 and 2 interchangeable, depending on what kind of looks you want to give.
Right.
So that's interesting. And then in line 2, you would.
And one thing we forgot to mention
with Kadri and
put Coleman with Kadri. Ooh, That sounds really fun. And then you could put like
And then it's either, Toffoli or Mangiapane, depending on what you do on line one. And then your third line, you've got Backlund, and you could put him with
with
Dubé and
Dubé and Luch,
Pelletier.
maybe,
I was thinking Pelletier.
or Peltier, yeah.
And yeah, I would put Luch on line four with.
And then we put Luch with Rooney and Lewis.
Yeah.
I was just thinking like you could put Luch up on the third line in order to shelter Peltier's minutes a little bit. And
That's an option too. They also got Adam Ruzicka as well, who's 23 years old. They still have to sign.
Ruzicka needs a contract.
So I'm not sure what their plans are with him, but like they got options. And then you go to the defense. Noah Hannafin, Rasmus Anderson, Chris Tanev, Nikita Zadorov.
Now Tanev's gonna be on IR for a while.
Their seventh defenseman when every guy is healthy is Juuso Välimäki.
Right.
Holy fuck.
Your eighth defenseman when everybody's healthy is friggin'. Oh my gosh. Can this page cooperate for me, please? No, it won't. Okay. So, like, I'm looking at the non-roster guys, and there's
Nick Milosh. They got Connor Mackey.
That Milosh was the guy I was going to bring
Dennis
up. Like
Gilbert is another guy that they signed this offseason.
Pospisil, they got Clark Bishop. Here's
so
the under. Okay,
they got Jeremy Poirier.
Here's a guy that we didn't really talk about when we got to talk about the deal, the Hubie deal. Cole Schwindt.
Yeah.
Cole Schwindt is an option.
He's still a little bit away from playing, but the other guy they got that's interesting, I think, for the future, Connor Zary.
Connor Zary is in there, yeah. He's definitely in the conversation. And then, so like you're gonna run goalie wise, you're fine.
Yeah,
because you're gonna run Markstrom and Vladar, and then Dustin Wolf should get some looks.
Yeah.
Right? And then obviously for insurance, they brought in Oscar Dansk, old.
Yeah, and
little Blue Jackets throwback with Oscar Dansk there.
Unfortunate that he didn't work out.
Oh, I love Oscar.
Another guy that's pretty interesting for me is they brought in Walker Duehr, who was really, really good for Minnesota State when they were making the run.
Okay.
A little bit ago. So I don't know if he has any legitimate NHL upside, but they have him on a contract, and I thought he was interesting when I watched him.
But yeah, I think so. Just to bring this all together, right? That forward core is really set now, and it's scary. Because they signed Nas is there for a long time. Yeah. Nas got what New York was really originally offering, 7x7.
Yeah, and everybody brings up the whole like, the back half of the contract. Like, this is free agency. Get over it. You pay for the back half to get the front half. That's
right,
how
exactly
it works. That's oftentimes how extending your own guys works.
Right.
It's just the price of business. You know, of course, you're not going to like the last few years of Andre Palat in New Jersey, or the last few years of maybe Johnny Gaudreau in Columbus. Depends on how he ages, but you never know. But who gives a shit? Because you're getting the first 5 years of that player, you know what I mean?
Exactly. And that's prime years. That's perfect prime years.
The last 2 years of John Tavares might not be great in Toronto, but when they signed the deal, they didn't care because they were getting the first 5 years of
They got 47 goals his first year there.
Yeah. So, like, it's just, that's how it works. So I look at Nazem Kadri, sure, he might not be great in his last 2 years of the deal. You're getting 5 years, 5 productive years of Nazem Kadri. And who knows, maybe he as well. You never know.
And again, the sad part is you're sacrificing one of your, premier guys in Sean Monahan.
Former premier guys.
Right.
And that's it
God,
hurts.
it's so sad thinking about it.
I'm rooting for him in Montreal.
Absolutely.
I hope that he can adjust to his body
Mhm.
and where his skill set lies now, and he can figure it out and be a productive player in the National
If
Hockey
he can
League.
play like third line minutes for Montreal this year,
If he could be a third line center, that's awesome. But in terms of becoming like that 82 points and 78, he's never going to be that again. And I hate to say it, I doubt he's a 48-point guy in 70 games anymore, and it sucks. But that's just the reality of the injuries that he's been through.
yeah, if he can make every once in a blue moon like a 50-point season, that'd be fine.
It would
But
be great, but it's very, very wishful.
but he's probably stuck to a 40-45 point pace anymore.
I don't even think he's that.
Maybe even, yeah.
I mean, I'm just being honest. Like, I think he's a 30-point guy.
It's
But
just
granted, you get 30 points out of your third, fourth line center, like you're not going to complain about that. But he's never going to be a $6 million player anymore.
It's just such an abrupt change.
It is, and it sucks. Like I'm rooting for. I hope he becomes that 50-point player again. I really do. But it's hard with
Absolutely.
wrists and hip surgeries, and as many as he's had, that's so hard to overcome.
I know he went through that when he did, but it's like, and I hate bringing up this point because it's such a different point. It didn't stop Austin.
It's the amount of surgeries, though.
Right.
It's also the fact that
Because Austin's had what, 2?
Austin's always he had a better shot. Like and like we said, Monahan's a great player. He was a great player. Austin Matthews had a better wrist shot than Sean Monahan when he was 15. Like it's just
right. It's just the nature of the
He's just so gifted. He can go through 4 wrist surgeries, and he might not be what he originally once was. He could still be a 30-goal guy even with 40 wrist surgeries.
Right, exactly.
That's just how good he is,
So, like, I know that's such an unfair comparison, but again, like, that's the first wrist surgery comparison I could really make off the top of my head, right?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Mikheyev, but that was totally different kind of freak accident.
Yeah, and it's less about the wrist surgeries, to be honest. Like it affects him. It is, changed the shot, but it's more about the hips than anything.
Yes, he can't move as well as
his mobility. To be honest with you, he almost might be better suited to switch to wing.
Maybe.
Just because you're not getting down for face-offs, and you don't have to be quite as mobile on the wing as you do at center. Like that would be a change I would consider for Sean Monahan if I'm Montreal, and considering the fact that they got Suzuki, Dvorak, and now Kirby Dach.
Right.
It might not be the worst idea for.
Right, they do have Dach, so I don't know, because
they also have Jake Evans. Like
they have Evans, they have Pitlick. They do have
maybe
options, I guess.
Maybe that's their plan is to talk to Monahan and say, hey, like we think it's honestly better for your career to move to wing, because I think that would probably be
could be.
But
it could be. But I mean, again,
we get back to the Flames.
So yes, we've spent all this time just I'm happy. I'm happy for the Flames, and I think they're still going to be a playoff team. I don't know.
100%. I still think they're a cup contender. They don't have as much high-end talent as they did last year because they lost Tkachuk,
but they're still so strong overall as a team.
They're so well-rounded. And what is their weakness?
I can't find one.
The only weakness I can think of is maybe goaltending in the playoffs. Markstrom's a good goalie. We need to see him do it consistently in the playoffs. That's the only, flaw I see. And that might just be a one playoff issue where Markstrom just wasn't good. Maybe he's great next playoffs.
Right, exactly. Who knows? Because we already know that Markstrom's like a premier goaltender in this
He's
league.
top 10 goalie in the league, 100%.
So it's just, yeah, he just needs to show what he can do when it matters.
Vladar is a fantastic backup.
Yeah, I never saw any issues with him in Boston. They just never really gave him the time of day.
Well, they didn't really have a spot for him because they had Swayman.
Right, exactly.
Like, but it happens. I think it worked out for both ends.
Right.
Boston got Swayman, who's great, and the Flames have Vladar, who's a really good backup. So
Yeah,
I love it. I like the Flames, man. I love what I see. I legitimately think that they are a team that can absolutely win the Stanley Cup this year.
I think it's great that Tree Living was making all these moves on his birthday.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And he was helping his daughter move into university in Texas on his birthday and making all these moves at the same time.
Jesus.
This dude just works. It's just like... So I think the narrative changed, huh?
Yeah, how narratives can quickly change. To be honest with you, it felt like Tree Living was a guy who's over the last couple of years, his seat was getting a little warmer and warmer. I think that he is officially off the hot seat. I don't even think he's in a seat anymore.
Nobody knows more about narratives changing, especially over this past off season, than we do.
Yeah.
It's because it's like all the free agents leave. Nobody wants to play here. We get the biggest fish on the market.
We do this every time a free agent leaves anywhere. A free agent leaves a team, and it's unless it's a big market, like we love to see players leave certain markets and say, well, no, nobody wants to play there. See, this player left. It's the dumbest thing we do. Panarin and Bobrovsky and Duchesne leave Columbus, and everybody says, well, nobody wants to play there. Well, Duchesne wasn't offered a contract.
No.
Bobrovsky wanted out so he can, I don't know, make $10 fucking million in goddamn Florida.
And Brett told us he was going to leave. At least he was generous to say that.
Yeah, he was generous, and he said it wasn't against the city of Columbus. He just wanted to be a free agent. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Yeah. I don't know if you know this. He signed $11.5 million contract with the New York fucking Rangers, okay? Yeah. It might not be a Columbus issue. Just throwing it out there. And then we see, Johnny Gaudreau signs, and, we see Gaudreau leaves Calgary. Well, nobody wants to play in Calgary. Well, that's a hunk of bullshit. Nazem Kadri just signed there. Jonathan Huberdeau just signed there.
Mackenzie Weegar is in the works.
Probably going to sign there. Yeah. Like we do this every freaking offseason. Like, oh my God, who the hell wants to play on the island? John Tavares just left. Well, I don't know. The Islanders made back-to-back conference finals. That sounds like a team I'd like to play for.
They're building around Matt Barzal as best as they can, maybe.
Yeah.
They have the best name defensive pairing ever, locked up long term. And Pelican Pollock, it's like, I don't know. Yeah. They have a premier young goalie in Ilya Sorokin. Don't know if you heard of him.
He's really good and stunningly. Cannot believe it. You watch this guy, and he is somehow the second best Russian goaltender in New York.
I know.
Which is fucking cruel.
I know. I wonder what that means. I wonder what this is going to mean for Georgiev in Colorado, though. I do wonder about him.
But he signed already, right?
I'm pretty sure he did, but we can talk about that at some point. Yeah. We can talk about that some other point. Anyway, so the Flames, yes, brilliant turnaround.
Mm-hmm. Let me tell you, man, if the Flames finish with
if the Flames are like
5 or more points next year, you can safely say that Tree Living's your GM of the year.
I can easily see them finishing second or third still.
Who's better than them in that division?
Dude,
like there's teams that will compete with them, and there's teams that might finish ahead of them, but I can't say as of right now that there's
in terms of who's better. I don't know if you can really.
Are the Oilers better than them? I know they just beat them in the playoffs, but the Flames changed significantly, and I don't know if you know this. Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. So if we're looking at teams, complete teams.
Yeah, we're a team.
I can't say that the Oilers are better than the Flames. I don't think
No, I don't think I can say
they
that,
just
especially
they just
because,
have McDavid and Draisaitl.
like, sure, they have Jack Campbell, but like Mike Smith is gone on
and
LTIR.
this is nothing against Campbell. Did they upgrade?
I don't think so.
I don't think they did solely because of the way that Mike Smith played last year, specifically in the playoffs.
Right, exactly.
It's going to be hard for Campbell to outperform that. So I can't say that they definitively
Excuse
upgraded
me.
that position. I think they got better solely by Duncan Keith retiring.
Vegas,
Vegas, well, okay, you're going to get a whole healthy year of Eichel. You just keep
sure,
Max Pacioretty for fucking free.
exactly. You
Yeah,
just
not
got
to
rid.
mention, you didn't just give him away for free. You had to add Dylan Coughlin to the mix,
Yep, and then you also get rid of Evgeny Dodonov
who was actually really good for you last year.
after trying to screw him over.
Try to screw him over. He was fantastic. Like, dude.
And sure, you locked up another like core guy from the original era in Smith, but that doesn't really make you better.
It doesn't make you better. You just keep him around.
Keeping Nick Waugh was nice.
Hopefully, like in their hopes, they're going to stay healthy this year, and if they stay healthy, they'll make the playoffs. But
Right, it was
I can't say
definitely
you
more
don't
of
make
an
it better.
injury
You
thing
don't have
last
Robin
year.
Leonard this year,
Right, and
and I like Logan Thompson. I like Brossoit.
Brissett. Love it.
I can't say they're better.
No, they're not. And Brossoit is a
You hope
career
they
backup.
finish better because maybe they'll be healthy.
Maybe
but
they'll actually make the playoffs this year. Who knows?
who knows? Maybe they don't. You never know. Like you hope
They
now,
lost
the way-
they lost
they
like
got better as
60
coach.
they lost 60 goals worth in two players
Yeah.
in order to take on LTIR space and Shea Weber.
Yeah. So you lose two really good players. You lose your number one goalie. I love Bruce Cassidy. Is Bruce Cassidy enough
I
to
don't know.
take them
I,
to the playoffs? Because to me, it's very much dependent on your health.
yes.
So like, is Vegas better than Cal? I don't think Vegas is better than Calgary.
No.
The team that I think actually has the best case is LA.
I do think they have the best case.
Because they're going to be getting Doughty back. They brought in Kevin Fiala. They've
Mhm.
got young pieces who are still developing. They are the team that's got the best case in my mind.
Vancouver is interesting
They're interesting.
because of what's going on with JT Miller.
Yeah, it's they still have JT Miller.
Who
They
knows?
bring
Because like
Ilya Mikheyev, who should help,
they brought in Kuzmenko, and
and he's interesting.
he's
he's
an
very-
interesting. Yeah, he's an intriguing piece.
And you're hoping that Vasily Podkolzin continues to develop as well.
Hogs.
Neil Toglander,
Yep.
yeah. And you hope that you get a bounce back year for Elias Pettersson, who
And
was good in
Bo.
the second half of the year, but he was brutal in the first half.
And Bo. We know what Bo can do.
too. And hopefully now with less around his personal life, obviously with his father, maybe you get, a whole year of Brock Besser and
Whole year, Brock.
focus on hockey. Like maybe it's easier on him. Not
You get
constantly.
more. You get
Mm.
more of the same from Demko. You get more of the same from Quinn. Hopefully, him and
Yeah.
OEL can kind of like figure something out
Hopefully
better.
you get the same production last year you got from OEL because OEL was actually really good for them.
Yeah, and then
You got Connor Garland still there.
who knows what's going on with Tyler Myers?
Yeah. They still need to figure out a backup.
Do they?
I think their backup Spencer Martin right now.
Spencer Martin, and then I think they probably brought in another guy because
Still
they're they're trying to shop Mikey.
Yeah, Mike DiPietro. So I don't know what their deal is there, but
So Vancouver's got an interesting case.
I'm willing to hear people out on Vancouver because, not to mention, you also get a full year of Barbecue Bruce there.
Yeah, you get a full year of Bruce Boudreau behind the
I
bench.
think the Canucks are a playoff team.
That would be interesting to see them challenge for a spot this year. Seattle's still trying to build. And we've talked about
Seattle's
Seattle
another
plenty.
interesting team because you're going to get a full year of Matty Beniers.
Full year, Matty
Might get a
Beniers.
full year of Shane Wright.
Who knows if Shane makes it out of camp?
You bring in Oliver Bjorkstrand.
You bring in Ollie. Yep.
And there's
you bring in.
There's no way
Dude.
Philip Grubauer is that bad again next year, right?
I don't think so. I would hope not.
And you bring God, he's not.
You bring in Cup experience with Burakovsky coming in.
Yeah, Burakovsky's too. Like Seattle's interesting too because I could see Seattle maybe finally getting some goaltending and maybe starting to win some games, but then again, they still have Dave Haxtell.
It's Haxtell's the big monkey wrench there.
That's the monkey wrench in all of it. Is I don't think Seattle's as bad as they were last year. It's just goaltending was terrible, and Dave Haxtell's not a good coach.
So I'm just looking at the Pacific Division as a whole. So top 3, I would say Calgary, Edmonton,
and LA.
Yeah, you're right.
And I think Vancouver's a wild card team.
Vancouver can challenge. Seattle's going to challenge. Vegas is going to challenge.
Yeah.
And because San Jose, we know they're not going to say it, but they're going full rebuild.
San Jose, as of right now,
it's so weird.
They are contending for Connor Bedard.
They are contending for Connor Bedard.
They are a different kind of contender.
But it's weird though, because it's like they're not like an Arizona or a Chicago that's openly saying this.
Right, but you look at that roster, you're like, wow.
That's a Bedard sweepstakes. And then Anaheim, I can see them trying to be competitive.
I think they're trying to be more competitive. They just don't have enough. It's nice bringing in John Klingberg. They're hoping to get a little bit of a bounce back from John Gibson.
You need a bounce back from Gibby.
We've been saying that for a while now. I think Stolarz is a solid backup.
Yeah, he is. He looked fine. And I mean, you get more from.
They bring Sonny back.
I wonder where Sonny's gonna go. I hope he stays.
They should bring him back.
And because he worked so well with Trevor.
Yeah, and who knows? You might get a full year of Mason McTavish.
You bring in McTavish. You get Jamie Drysdale. Full year of Jamie.
Drysdale's continuing to develop. I like his game. You get a full year of expectations for Troy Terry, who broke out last year.
Yes. Oh my God.
Trevor Zegras continues to develop.
Mm-hmm.
They brought in Rome. They brought in Frank Vetrano.
They did bring in those two guys.
So, I don't think they're a bad team.
They'll be competitive. They'll probably finish mid division, I would say.
Yeah, I think they'll get 75 points next year.
If they finish 5-6,
that's a win for them. 100%.
That's fine.
Yeah. That's a win. They don't want to finish last, which I don't think they will because San Jose.
They just have too much talent to finish last in the Pacific, I think.
And remember, their first half of last season was really good.
Yeah.
They had a terrible second half of the season.
They bottomed out really hard due to injuries and Max Jones. Is the Max Jones experiment done?
Did they bring him back?
I can't remember.
It was either him or Sam Steele that they didn't bring back. Can't remember which one.
I'm pretty sure they brought back Steele. I don't know where Max Jones went missing.
Let me check. The problem is they have so many similar prospects that all blend in with me. Like Max Jones, Sam Steele, and Isaac Lundstrom are all the same player in my mind.
Yeah. So getting out of Calgary in the Pacific talk, because we've spent so much time on this.
Okay, so they dropped Sam Steele. They still have Max Jones. He's got 2 years left on his contract.
Okay.
So I guess they're continuing the experiment.
I guess so.
They still have Comtois as well. Adam Henrique still there.
I like Henrique there still. He's a good fit.
And they still have Shattenkirk. They have 1 year left on his deal. They got Cam Fowler, who's been there for a long time. They got to figure out.
Cam's a good foot soldier there.
The interesting guy is Vaakanainen in my mind on that defense.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder what they're gonna do there. So World Juniors are going into semis, and we've got some upsets in here.
We've also had some unbelievable performances from Blue Jackets.
Yeah, we have. So the big upset was Czechia beating the US to go and play Canada.
Yes.
It's
And it's just so United States to get upset that early,
so weird. But at the same time, it's like, why?
It just feels like this happens every time,
They're such a talented roster. And
Yeah.
it's just like, ugh. That's not like my patriotism going full, like whatever, but at the same time, it's like you want to see these kids do well because like they're a premier country in
Mhm.
in
You're
the
one of the
tournament.
top countries in the world for hockey. Are you as good as Canada? Not necessarily, but you're still up there with some of the other countries.
It's
like
the 1-2 punch.
Finland and yeah, exactly.
It's like literally it's Canada and the US. That's the expectations every year.
Along with like
Sweden and Finland, yeah.
and Russia, like those are your top. That's top 5.
So the semis are Canada and Finland, right? I'm trying to remember seeding.
Let me see.
Or did Canada just play? Yeah, I think it's Canada, Finland, and then Sweden and Czechia.
Yeah, Canada versus Finland, Sweden versus Czechia.
Okay. So Czechia is playing for bronze with Sweden.
So Finland beat Germany 5-2. Sweden beat Latvia 2-1. Good job.
Can we talk about the Latvians for a second? Because they've
awesome
always been so underrated.
And we talk about them all the time as a developing country with hockey, and you see it like this tournament. They played pretty damn well.
You see it within the Metropolitan Division plenty. With Elvis and with Teddy and like, so we know that they have development and they have players.
Yeah, exactly. Czechia, as we mentioned, beat USA 4-2. Canada beats Switzerland 6-3.
With a Michigan.
Finland beat Sweden 1-0.
Woo, right. Yep. That's
Canada beat Czechia 5-2. So we got Canada versus Finland and Sweden versus Czechia. But yeah, and we'll get to Canada against Czechia. Someone for Canada had a pretty damn good game.
I'm just so excited. Like, I have no words about this kid anymore because I just want to see it happen. Right? What else can you say about Kent Johnson other than he's just freaking magical? Like,
I can't believe he pulled that off in a fucking game.
He's freaking magical.
The balls on him to do it was just so ridiculous.
It's the goal of the tournament. It's absolutely the goal of the tournament. There's no way around it. And don't get me wrong, like McTavish to Bedard that we talked about last show was phenomenal just because like Bedard has this unreal wrist shot.
Yeah. Good God. Like he is.
KJ's a Michigan product and he pulled it off.
Yeah. For a guy who went to Michigan to pull off the Michigan in a game like that, in a moment like that, was unbelievable.
It's amazing.
I can't remember who mentioned it. It might have been McTavish. It was in the last minute of the period, so that's when the ice is at its absolute worst.
Yeah,
high speed behind the net. That's unbelievable. He did it like it was nothing.
and like McTavish is some high praise too because he's also leading the team in points, right? He's got like 20.
God, did you see his one-timer that Johnson assisted on?
No, I didn't.
It was on a power play. Kent like carried it into the zone. He like kind of stepped back to like the left, right by like the left circle from the point, and he just fed it over to McTavish, and he just blasted fucking blasted a one-timer that just it looked like it was gonna rip the net. Like it was
McTavish
so
is going to be such a good player in this league. He's got
Yeah.
23 points in this tournament. It's like, oh,
yeah, they're all
Team
unbelievable.
Canada's freaking disgusting.
Yeah, they're insane. Ken Johnson was so much fun to watch. But when we talk about that game, did you see Jiricek's goal?
Jiricek, I need to go back and watch it because
I'll send it to you. He fucking blasted that shit.
I'll have to watch it when we're done here because I know you got to go in like a half an hour.
Well, I have to be there in half an hour.
You have to
so
be there in a half. Okay. Oh shit. But yeah, like Jiricek, all of our prospects, Svozil's getting a lot of love,
Yeah.
which is nice to hear.
He looked good. I think they actually played Svozil and Jiricek a little bit together,
Ooh, that's fun.
which is
That's fun.
yeah. But yeah, no, he
I know because I remember I was watching one of the reviews and the hockey guy wore a Columbus hat with his Team Canada jersey because he had all of our prospects were playing against each other.
I just sent it to you. Take a look. Take a look. Fucking blast.
Let me just here. Yeah. Oh, he's just right there past the blue line and bam. Oh,
that's
wow. That's wild. And it's not even that much of a follow through on the release. Like, you don't need that. Like, you don't need to bring the stick up all the way up here.
Mm-hmm.
He had just enough of a release to just elevate it. Wow. That's so good. I'm so excited for these guys.
I'm so excited. It's gonna be unbelievable.
So yeah, I'm excited for the semis too. I hope I can at least keep track of some of that. And at least now we can kind of enjoy the rest of it and not have to worry about Hockey Canada stuff until more of that comes out.
Yeah, and we'll, as we always do, we'll cover that as we learn more.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, right now we're just kind of trying to enjoy the tournament.
Yeah, we're just trying to enjoy the hockey and, hopefully if Canada does win,
Mm-hmm. It's not marred by. Ugh.
I hope it's not marred by the investigation, but I hope it doesn't provide a distraction from it either.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Tough news. Kent Hughes coming out, GM of the Canadiens, saying that it's a high possibility that Carey's not going to play this year, let alone anymore.
And this is kind of something that we've been talking about a little bit from time to time.
Probably since the finals run, right?
It sucks.
It really sucks because this is that really was the last hurrah for Shea and Carey Price, and we didn't know.
Like we thought, oh, this is the last, but we didn't think that was going to be like their last games
ever. Yeah,
it's unbelievable to look at it when you consider that they're not playing.
Goalies' knees, like you can attest to this, I'm sure.
Yes, I'm 23 and my knees fucking kill me. Like, God, Carey Price is, a billion times the goalie I ever was, and is older and has played in the National Hockey League for a long time. And yeah, I don't know how these guys do it.
It really sucks because this is just the end of an era. Is this the end of an era? I think it is.
It is.
Because again,
I think we knew that it was
it's so uncertain because he hasn't said anything.
Yeah. I think we knew it was the end of an era in terms of there was going to be a shift with Montreal. Mm-hmm. I didn't think we realized it was going to be an end of an era in terms of, holy fuck, this guy's not going to play again. We're never going to see him again.
Exactly.
That's how it was with Shea.
That realization of, oh my God. Yeah.
And hoping that he was going to come back, and then it became apparent, oh no, he's never going to play again. We just saw the end of him.
It's so heartbreaking.
It is, because two of the more, not just likable, lovable guys in the
in the
national.
in the sport.
Yeah, two guys who really deserved a cup.
And Carey got plenty of hardware. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
And Shea got plenty of hardware and recognition. He got his hardest shots at the All-Star game.
yeah,
Both really should have gotten their cups.
yeah. Pain.
It's so, and I hate this because it was always like, you know, it was Carey Price, it was Tuukka Rask, it was Bob.
Mhm.
Those were probably your top three guys for the longest time in terms of competing for the hardware, right?
Yeah, with Hank in there as well.
You could throw Henrik in there, absolutely.
Yeah,
You could throw Flower in there. That's your top five, right?
Flower, and the last one I would say is probably Quick.
Probably Quick, maybe less so.
Less so, he'd probably be towards the bottom of that. But
He'd probably be number
but
like
while
6.
those guys were competing for the hardware, Quick was the one who was winning the cups. You know,
Exactly right.
Yeah,
And who else was winning cups? Corey Crawford.
Corey Crawford and Marc-Andre Fleury.
It-
3 of them. You know, like,
it's just the goalies of this era. It's so sad to see all of these guys coming
crazy
to an
think
end.
about the top end guys. Tuukka Rask. Well, he won a cup, but he won it as a backup. So like,
Yeah,
he never won one as a starter.
which
You
is
know, we didn't
sad.
see one from Hank. We didn't see one from Carey Price. We didn't see one from Pecorine.
Haven't seen one from Bob yet.
Haven't seen it from Bob. Didn't see one from Luongo.
Oh,
You know, like, fuck.
it's just like Carey was the closest one, and Fleury was probably the closest one for the longest. Well,
You know who I fear is going to join that list as well?
hmm.
Hellebuck.
Oh God, please don't.
'Cause I can't see it. I can't see fucking Helly winning one. That was Winnipeg.
Not with Winnipeg, no. This one's just so sad
Yeah,
because
this one. This
it's
one's
it's Carey Price.
yeah.
It's probably the biggest name that Montreal has, like
Look,
in this
It's just
in
a
this
le-
current era.
yeah. In an organization that not only has just the richest history in the National Hockey League,
So much storied goalie history.
the goalie history, and
Jacques Plante, Patrick Waugh, Carey Price,
yeah. You know, and I know he didn't win a
and
cup
even
with
the
them.
backups like Cristobal Huet and like
Well, fuck. I know he's not an NHL legend, but fuck, Jose Theodore won a
Jose Theodore. Yeah,
he won a heart.
exactly.
He won a heart with that. Like, the hell, you know? It's great. Like I said, only 4 times in the history of the National Hockey League has a goalie won the Hart, and 3 of them were with the Canadiens.
Is Carey and Theodore and
And Plant, I think.
probably
Yeah,
if not Patrick.
yeah, exactly.
It's just so storied goalie wise there, and it's like, man, the fact that this one's coming to an end hurts.
It hurts a lot, but hopefully, since it's the Montreal Canadiens and they have such a storied history, we'll get a new Carey Price soon in there.
Yeah. Some fun, like I can just go bang 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 with this to end
Yeah.
this, because team Twitter accounts were on one over the
Yeah,
last
they were
couple of
on
days.
one.
Have you seen this?
Yeah.
Team Twitter accounts were just like, we're gonna announce this, and ooh, this is a fun little secret.
Because
we got."
as the Nazem Kadri news was coming out, and we found out that they're trying to trade Sean Monahan, teams decided this would be a really fun time to tweet emojis.
Yeah, I know, because there was like the chain of emojis from the Predators, right? They made a thread out
Everyone's
of
like,
it.
"What the fuck? Are you trading for Sean Monahan? Why?" And then Alex was like, "Oh, you enjoying your emoji fun over there?"
This is Dallas coming in like, we heard yeehaw, we got summoned.
Yeah.
And then the Avalanche got in on it, like
And then it was fucking Montreal who traded for him.
it's so funny. Guys, like just every team Twitter account having fun was just fun
Yeah.
to watch.
Yeah.
And then it was just like the Preds are like, okay, we're gonna announce something soon. And then the Jets are like, okay, we're gonna announce something at 13:27.
Mm-hmm.
which I didn't know this because
Yeah.
I'm too young to know this, right? But we'll get to it in a second. So the Predators,
Mm-hmm.
they
This is
tweet
cool.
they tweet eyes, they tweet, they tweet a trophy,
Mm-hmm.
they tweet a baby face.
Yeah.
Which that one was the most confusing one to me, was the baby face. I was like, somebody coming up. Like, I don't know. But so they're hosting both the 2023 draft and award show.
Which I like. I think that this is something the league should do.
First time
need
they've
to-
done it since 06.
for the draft.
The first time the same cities hosted both
Okay.
since 2006.
They should do this all the time.
They should.
Let it be a combination thing. Whoever's hosting the draft also gets the award show. Let it be like a big, fun, huge thing for the city. You know?
Yeah, because it's the same weekend, I'm pretty sure, or at least like a week apart.
It's at least close. Like, why the fuck not just do it? Like, it brings in a lot of revenue to a city, and I think it's a really good opportunity for a city.
It can bring in a lot of meetups.
100%. Like, I think it just makes sense to do it in the same location. So, first of all, I'm glad that they're doing that. Second of all,
Nashville
Really?
getting it's going to be a party.
fucking Nashville, let's go. What a time to start doing it.
Oh, it's going to be such a party. I'm going to love it.
Nashville's such a great fucking city, man. Like, I'm happy for Nashville that they get this experience, and
I kind of want to start saving up now just to go.
I'm thinking about it.
I kind of want to go. I kind of want to go. So
Tennessee's already one of my favorite states ever.
I've only been there once, and it was for paintball, and it was ugly and sweaty and gross. But when I did get to go to the city, it was great.
Food, the experience, like it's amazing. You know,
The one day I spent in the city was fantastic, and then the day at the paintball park was whatever. But so yeah, Nashville's getting the draft and the awards for 2023, which is amazing. The Jets, again, their clue was announcing at 1327.
Mhm.
They are putting in and retiring / ring of honoring Teemu Solani's number 13
Mhm.
and Teppo Numanen's number 27.
Yeah, which both are incredibly deserved. And for the history of the Winnipeg Jets, obviously, they returned in 2011, but we remember the old Jets.
At least they're
player more important,
they're finally doing something with the original Jets.
which is what we wanted to see them do. So I'm glad that they're doing it. And if you're gonna do it, you had to start with Temu.
Absolutely. Your
You had to.
76 goal rookie year.
Yeah. Unbelievable career for him. So I'm glad that this is finally happening.
You know
He
what's
deserves it.
nice for Temu is they're doing it against the Ducks.
Oh, that's pretty fucking awesome.
That's pretty sweet, right?
Are they doing Newman on the same day?
I don't know. I didn't hear anything about when Numanen's going on, but they're doing Temu's retirement against Anaheim, which is nice. And it's nice that, again, these Jets are finally going to get to do something
Mhm.
that's tied back into the WHA original NHL Jets, which I'm still peeved at why the Coyotes have those records. Like, why not just?
I understand why they have.
I
the
get
record.
that it's the same franchise, but still, it's like
And
it's-
the reason they do it is because players cross over. Like Newman had played for the Coyotes.
Shane
for-
Doan being the premier example.
Shane
Yeah, that
Doan.
too.
So, like, I understand from that perspective why they do it, because there is direct correlation when you look at Newman and Shane Doan
Yes.
and some other players as well. Like, I understand that, but generally speaking, like, you want the history of the Winnipeg Jets to be tied to the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah. And then lastly, I want to end on a little bit of a rumor. I can't remember off the top of my head who exactly had this, but the Oilers are probably in on a couple of guys with 80s in their jerseys.
Sam Gagne.
It would be nice for them to bring him back, but
Who are they in on?
again, these are just rumors.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that I heard where like they said priority is going after Patrick Kane, first priority, and then second priority Phil Kessel. So
Totally believe that they're gonna Phil Kessel if they can get him cheap.
they could
I
get Phil pretty cheap.
have no belief whatsoever that they're gonna Patrick Kane.
I don't see it either. And it's just like it's this weird, like again, it's a rumor. Because what does this say? I gotta find this. This is so far. Oh, Gene Princip on Oilers Now while talking to Ben Stauffer or Bob Stauffer. Patrick Kane is plan 1, Phil Kessel is plan 2.
Interesting.
Okay, that's something to keep an eye on.
Imagine that it would be Puljujarvi and a bunch of other assets.
Puljujarvi and like 50 picks.
Yeah, for Kane at half price.
At half price, maybe.
I just don't see like what do the Oilers have to offer to the Blackhawks at this point?
Why would they need Patrick Kane?
Well, I think you get Patrick Kane because you want to see what the fuck a Patrick Kane, Leon Draisaitl, and Connor McDavid line would look like.
That's true. I do think like somebody
Connor
said
McDavid would put up 150 points with Patrick Kane and
yeah. It's funny though, because it's like, you know, people would say that would be confusing with both Evander and Patrick on there.
God, like,
and I'm like, no, because they were different numbers.
Yeah.
And plus you could put an E Kane and a P Kane on the jersey. Like that's not an issue. It's like what they do with the Sedins. It's like what they do with literally anybody that shares a name.
Also, like Evander's a bigger guy, isn't he? Like what, 6'4"?
Evander's a big boy, yeah. And then Patrick's what, like 6 foot?
Yeah, see.
Something like that. And I know you gotta go, so this is just kind of shooting the shit to wrap this up.
Patrick Kane, height is 5'10", like
5'10". So it's like you can, yeah.
You can just see a clear difference just because of height.
Yeah, exactly.
And weight too, because you know, and it's not to say like Kane's like a bigger guy. Like he's just a bit like big physical player. Like
they look nothing alike. One's a black dude.
Like I don't understand why people would be worried about it.
I don't know why that would be so confusing. Like
two completely different players.
You could do so much to separate the two, and they're completely different kind of players.
But Patrick Kane on the Oilers would be
weird
fun.
Little rumor, right?
I don't see it. Like I don't like it. Makes no sense.
It's a weird little rumor, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's just something to stir the pot as we're getting closer to training.
But if you're the Blackhawks, you do want to trade Patrick Kane because you don't want to lose him for nothing.
No, you got to get something out of that. You got to get something out of him. You got to get something out of Jonathan Toews, and we know that's eventually going to happen, but who knows when.
I don't know what they're going to get for Toews, even at half price.
I don't know. We'll see. But I mean, Phil Kessel would be interesting.
It would be interesting, especially at a cheap price, because I do think he's going to come cheap.
Yeah. So we know you got to go. You got a dog sit.
Okay. So
we will see you in a week.
Sounds good.
Hopefully you're not sick.
No, I'm good to go, man. I feel better.
Cool. Glad to hear it, buddy. All right. So, love you, and we'll see you all in a week.
Jake Jackets, a podcast for fifth liners and all puckheads around. Follow the guys on Twitter at Snake Gehringer, GARRINGER, and at by Jay Ashdown. And subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen. March on.